Good day everyone. So today we are going to talk about IELTS exam, and it's very important for you to get to know about this test because there are many people who are applying for this test for the purpose of studies, higher studies, or for the immigration purpose or for any professional training program. So if you are struggling in IELTS, this exercise will help you to get to know more about IELTS, and also we will try to highlight some key points here. So it includes IELTS pre-assessment test, IELTS proficiency test, and how to check IELTS online. It's also one of very important tasks. Preparation for each module of IELTS, complete test format like listening, speaking, writing, and reading. And second, last one, band score scale. I will try to show you the whole like scoring scale for you, okay? And how to get top bands in like bands score in your IELTS. So let's just begin right now. Introduction for IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. IELTS measures the language proficiency of people who want to study or work where English is used as a language of communication. It means if you are traveling from your country and you are passing out from your country to another country, you must require to pass a specific test in English, and that is called IELTS. So it has like a proficiency like a band scoring scale starting from from the lowest standard to the highest standard, okay? So IELTS has two different categories, IELTS general and IELTS academic, okay? So IELTS general, you can say like a general format is the IELTS assess your ability in listening, reading, writing, and speaking in less than 3 hours. So the test duration can be 2 hours and 45 minutes or around 3 hours. So some key points that you are requested to be followed here. There are two types of IELTS test, like academic and the general training test. So listening and speaking are the same in both of the test, but the subject matter of the reading and writing components, okay? It depends which test you take or which test you book in your IELTS. So the listening and reading writing components of all IELTS tests are completed on the same day, okay? But with the speaking component takes the second interval, okay? So you must remember maybe speaking module can be can be enrolled before listening, reading, and writing, or maybe after listening, reading, and writing, okay? So you must educate your mind. So however it can be completed up to a week before or after your test. So your test center will advise you about the test. The total test time is 2 hours and 45 minutes, as I told you before. And test format for listening, okay? Now we are gonna start to discuss about test format separately. In listening part, you will listen a full recording of native speakers and then write your answers to a series of questions. It's very important for you to get each of the recording and each of the recording based on 10 questions. So you must hear the recording and then take time to put your answers on your sheet, okay? So recording one, a conversation between two people set in an everyday social context, and in recording two, like a monologue set in an everyday social context. It can be a speech about local facilities. All right. Recording three, a conversation between up to four people set in an educational or training context. It can be a university tutor or a student of a batch of student discussing an assignment, okay? And recording four, a monologue on an academic subject like a university lecture. The lecture is like play, and you need to listen the lecture and give your answers accordingly. All right. And in listening, oh sorry, in reading format, you will have you can avail 60 minutes to complete this format. So the reading component consists of 40 questions designed to attest to test a wide range of reading skills. So these include reading for a gist, reading for main ideas, reading for details, skimming, understanding logical argument, and recognizing writers' opinions and attitude and purpose. It's very important for you. When you are writing, you must, when you are reading, I'm sorry, when you're reading, you must recognize the writer opinion as well. It's very, very important for you, okay? And to get to know the attitude and the purpose why he writes or why he put this story for you, okay? And in academic tests, this include 3 long texts which range from the descriptive and factual to the discursive and analytical, okay? And these are taken from books, journal, magazines, and newspapers. So they have been selected for a non-specialist audience but are appropriate for people entering universities courses or seeking professional registrations. So this test is designed for those people who are entering in the university courses or seeking professional registration. Okay, it's very important. And in general test, in general IELTS, this include extract from books, magazines, newspapers. So notice advertisement company or handbooks and guideline. It can be a booklet as well. So these are material you are likely to encounter on a daily basis in an English speaking environment. And in academic writing, it's belong to 60 minutes, and in academic writing, topics are of general interest to and suitable for test takers entering undergraduate and postgraduate studies or seeking professional registration. So these are 2 tasks. Task number 1 here, you will be presented with a graph, table, chart, or diagram and asked to describe, summarize, or explain the information in your own words. So you may be asked to describe and explain the data, describe the stages of a process, or how something works, or describe an object or event. And in task number 2, you will be asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, argument, or problem. Responses to both tasks must be in formal style, not in informal style, okay? So you must notice this. In IELTS general training, topic are of general interest, like there are 2 tasks. Task number 1, you will be presented with a situation and asked to write a letter, okay? And requested information or explaining the situation. So the letter may be personal, semi-personal, semi-formal, or formal in style. And in task number 2, you will be, in task number 2, you will be asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, an argument, or a problem. So the essay can be fairly personal in style. And in test format speaking, it will be 11 to 15 minutes format, and the speaking components assess your use of spoken English, and everyday test is recorded. So part number 1, the examiner will ask you general questions about yourself and a range of familiar topics such as home, family, work, studies, and interests. So this part lasts between 4 and 5 minutes. And in part 2, you will be given a card which asks you to talk about a particular topic, and you will have 1 minute to prepare before speaking for up to 2 minutes. The examiner will then ask 1 or 2 questions on the same topic. Okay? So don't worry, just take time, 1 minute before saying any word according to your topic. And part 2, you will be asked further questions about the topic in part 2. These will give you the opportunity to discuss more abstract ideas and issues. So this part of the test lasts between 4 and 5 minutes too. Okay? So now, question is how you get IELTS score. It's a guideline for you. The IELTS scores guide in an essential tool for anyone who needs to understand how IELTS score relate to language ability, including course designers, teachers, and employers. So it includes videos of spoken performances at different points on the 9 band scale with comments from examiners and sample writing tasks provided by test takers at different points on the 9 band score like band scale with comments from examiner and sample questions and answer from listening and reading tests. A supporting booklet that includes an overview of the task format and the IELTS assessment criteria, surveys to help you set your own score requirements and information on how to set up a score setting committee. Okay, so this scale will show you how you can score in each of your module. So if you get like 0 score, they didn't attempt the test, it means the test taker didn't answer the questions. So if you get like 1 score, one like score band, so non-user, I mean the test taker has no ability to use the language except a few isolated words. And if your score is 2 overall, okay, so it is like it will be called like intermittent user. The test taker has great difficulty understanding spoken and written English. And if your score is 3, it will be called extremely limited user. The test taker conveys and understands only general meaning in very familiar situations. So there are like frequent breakdowns in communication. And if your score is 4, so it will be called limited user. The test taker basic competence is limited to familiar situations, and they frequently show problems in understanding and expressions. So they are not able to use complex language. And I'm not sure if you have any idea about complex language, okay? And 5th score is modest user. The test taker has a partial command of the language and copes with overall meaning in most situations, although they are likely to make many mistakes. So they should be able to handle basic communication in their own field. Score 6, complement user. The test taker has an effective command of the language, despite some incursives, inappropriate usage and misunderstandings. So they can use and understand fairly complex language, particularly in familiar situations too. So if your score is 7, so good user called. The test taker has operational command of the language with occasional, or you can say inappropriate usage and misunderstanding in some situations. So they generally handle complex language well, understand detailed reasoning, okay? And score number 8, very good user called. The test taker has fully operational command on the language and well versed and complex language too. And expert user called 9 score. The test taker has fully operational command of the language. Their use of English is appropriate, accurate, and fluent, and shows complete understanding in English. Alright, so overall band score, the overall band score is the average of 4 components scores rounded to the nearest whole or half band. So the component score are weighted equally. Some examples here, like tests, we have 3 different test taker, okay? So if your test is if your test score is 6.5 in listening, 6.5 in reading and writing, 5, and speaking 7, so your average score of 4 components will be compiled by 6.25. So if your score is if your score ends on 25, so the overall band score is rounded up to the next half, okay? So it will be like 6.5. Or if your score is ends up 0.75, the overall score band score is round it up to the next whole band, like it can be like 6.0, or if your score is 3.875, so it will be rounded up to the next whole. Okay, so the second example is oh sorry, we were talking about the first example. So if your average is 6.25, so the band score will be 6.5. And if your test score is 4.0 listening, 3.5 reading, 4.0 writing, 4.0 in speaking, so your average score of four components will be 3.875, and the total band score will be 4.0. And we have example third, 6.5 listening, 6.5 reading, 5.5 writing, and 6.0 speaking. So your average score of four components will be 6.125, and the band score will be calculated 6.0. So I hope guys you really love this video, and I hope you have questions and queries regarding IELTS. So if you have any single question regarding IELTS or regarding anything else, and you are just most welcome to ask in the comment, and please feel free to share this video to the most relevant students who are taking IELTS, and if they are planning to do IELTS in future. So thank you so much for following us, and hope to bring some more strategies for you soon.